WVCR 88.3 The Saint. It's Kickin' Country with Colin here on the station. It's your Nashville connection on your Siena College connection. And straight out of Nashville, that's a new single from Luke Bryan called But I Got a Beer in My Hand. It's a pretty good single, a nice summer anthem. I really do enjoy it. Hey folks, coming up this hour for you on Kickin' Country, it's the best of today's, yesterday's, and tomorrow's country music. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to sit down with a local country music artist by the name of James Krakat. Going to be talking about his debut album called Just Me, My Guitar, and Harmonica, and among many other things as well. But before we get to that, here's Brooks and Dunn with a throwback single. It's called How Long Gone. Right here, right now, it's Kickin' Country on 88.3 The Saint. The name of the song is Family, God and Country, and you are listening to Kickin' Country with Colin here on 88.3 The Saint, Siena College Radio. Joining me right now is the performer of that song. His name is James Krakat. James, how are you doing on this Saturday evening?
I'm doing good, Colin. Thank you for having me on.
Not a problem at all, James. My pleasure. So you just dropped your brand new record, your debut record, as a matter of fact, Just Me, My Guitar, and Harmonica. What is it like to drop your first record?
It's exciting. It's a little bit nerve-wracking as well, and it was time-consuming. But I'm very excited. I'm happy to have done it, and I just hope that the listeners enjoy it, and it makes an impact on people.
Absolutely. And now let me ask you this question. It seems like you dropped the first single, Campfire, back in 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
So what has been the process like building up to this record that was released this year?
So basically what I did was, as the songs were being completed, and if I felt it was kind of like, either radio friendly or catchy, I would release the singles first until finally I got to a point where it's like, I need to get this album out now.
Got you. Understood. It's probably how most independent artists kind of do it that way, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So you're a BMI country music artist, meaning like the Broadcast Media Incorporated.
Yes.
So what does that mean for you as an artist?
Well, it means that I can get, my royalties, which is important for an artist because, you're not going to get paid unless you're part of BMI. And if your stuff airs on the radio or it's played, places, because the music industry is complicated. I mean,
Mm.
there's so many different licenses that a lot of people don't know about, and you need to protect yourself, and you need to, be able to, get the money so you can do it as a living.
Yeah, for sure. And you write all your own songs on this record?
I wrote everything, and I played all of the instruments. I mean, literally, what it is just
Mm.
me, my guitar, and harmonica.
It's a pretty smart album title then in that respect.
Well, I tried to keep it kind of like bare minimum for this country album because I've always liked, those country artists and songs that seem very minimal.
Mhm.
Right now, I mean, I think everybody's probably like a Yellowstone fan, and if you listen on Yellowstone, there's a lot of songs that are like that. They play it like it's just a guy and a guitar.
Right.
And I think it's what's nice about it too is it's like something that if people like these songs, they can go literally like with their friends and just sit down and play a song. You don't need like a massive band behind you. Not that I don't like that stuff because I love it, but I think there's something special about being able to just take a guitar, play, sing,
Mhm.
play the harmonica and sing, and then have people be able to just do that very easily.
Right. I mean, I think most songs start out with just an acoustic and then they build up the electric part of it. Do you plan to build up the electrics on any of these songs live or anything like that, or just keep it low key?
For now, I've kept most of these low key. A couple of them I actually had recorded in the past, on there, which I had more of a band and stuff behind it. But then I kind of rearranged them and stripped them down a little bit, because I've been looking at them more consciously as time frame for like the radio, trying to keep it within like maybe that 3 minute time frame so you can get radio play and things like that.
Sure.
But who knows? Maybe at one point I might reduce some of them, but at this point, if anything, I just would put out probably another album. And I'm also in a band, a country rock band, The Perfect Storm,
Mhm.
and right now we're recording an album. So I mean, that's basically where I'm getting like more of the bigger band sounds and stuff as well. So
Gotcha. I'll talk about that band in a second here, but I got a question for you in a sense of like this. This record to me felt very like traditional country music based, very stripped down as you were mentioning. What are some of your influences in the country music landscape? Are they more traditional, more like contemporary? How are we looking here?
I mean, I like a lot of music in general. I mean, ironically, my favorite band isn't even country; it's the Beatles. I mean, I love Garth Brooks, or old Hank Williams. I
Mhm.
love that stuff. Stanley Brothers. Those really old sounds. I mean, one of my favorite movies is "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" If you're
Mhm.
familiar with that.
Absolutely. I'm a film guy.
Yeah, so I love that sound. I remember when I watched the movie and just hearing that music, I'm like, wow, this is great stuff. It's just so simple. It's
Mhm.
not, super complex. And I like hearing the harmonies of people together. And I like just how it's like, simple things. I mean, I didn't play banjo on this, but I love those sounds. I think sometimes we've lost a little of that to a point, but there are still artists who do that. But I do like a modern artist as well too, like Luke Combs. I think is awesome.
Mhm.
Well, like Lainey Wilson has some good songs out
Mhm.
there right now. Miranda Lambert, Morgan Wallen's doing a lot of good stuff, but he's more. I kind of call him more like pop, country because he's doing like kind of like crossing over
Yeah.
quite a bit. But Elvis, I love Elvis. Buck Owens, people like that who, old sound, country, Brooks and Dunn, 1990s when country came back at like a big peak when it was country, but yeah, a little bit of rock.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the era of 1990s is one of my favorite time periods in country music to study. So, there's just a lot of innocent yet timeless music that has come out of that era, and glad to see a resurgence is happening in Nashville with that era of country music. More with James Krakat in just a little bit here on Kickin' Country with Colin. Make sure you get your requests into me by calling 518-783-2400 or shoot me an email over at colinwvcr@gmail.com. But as James just mentioned Elvis, I'm going to play you a song that I think he kind of sounds like Elvis on. It's a song called Hair Like Rain, right here or right now. It's Siena College Radio, 88.3 on your FM dial or the iHeartRadio mobile app.
Her hair's like rain. Her eyes are welcoming. Oh, your lips I long to kiss. This I can't dismiss. And as long as we live, my love I will give, I will give. Our hearts beat as one tonight. Our love transcends through time. No war can keep us apart or compete with her love. Her hands like rain, her eyes, oh, welcoming, no, ooh, your lips I long to kiss. This I can't dismiss. And as long as we live, my love I will give, I will give.
The best of today's, yesterday's, and tomorrow's country music is right here on Kickin' Country with Colin. You're listening to 88.3 The Saint, Siena College Radio. I'm here in studio with a local country music artist in the Capital Region area, James Krakat, with his song Hair Like Rain that just played here on the show. Now, James, I just want to take a brief second to talk about the song Hair Like Rain, and hopefully you don't mind and can share some insight here. But to me, this song feels like a jumping off point of like Elvis's Can't Help Falling in Love. When I hear your voice, I just think, is this guy like an Elvis tribute artist or something here? Because he's got the voice. He's got it. So is that like...
I mean, I appreciate that. I never looked at myself like that, but I mean, Elvis is, wow. I mean, he's the, in my opinion, probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, singer of all. I mean, it kind of happened by accident when I did it. Like, I've loved Elvis. I loved his sounds, and I just, I started singing it kind of a little deeper, and it just kind of turned out that way.
Mhm.
But I mean, Elvis is one of a kind, and I take that as an honor to be, compared in that respect.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's, seriously, as soon as I heard the song, I was like, did I go to Elvis or something here? No. Okay. All right. Awesome.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's a high honor in my opinion.
Of course, you're welcome. Absolutely. So this band here that you're in, is it like a country band, like traditional like electric guitar, bass guitar, steel guitar, all that stuff, or like what is it?
We're country rock.
Okay.
And right now, actually, ironically, we are it's just me, another guitar player, and a drummer. But we on the album though we play all the instruments, and we add all those other instruments too. Like we've actually added lap steel in some songs, and we've added some other things because we can play multiple instruments. Right now, we're about to drop our first single, and we have a music video for that one as well too. And the name of that one's Magic Feeling.
Well, that sounds pretty darn cool, James, if I do say so myself. And by the way, when you said you're about to drop the single, I think that you meant to say play the single, because I got it for you right here, right now. It's called Magic Feeling by The Perfect Storm, here on 88.3 The Saint, Siena College Radio.
Women in bikinis, drinking beers with my friends, enjoying the summer, hoping this will never end. Oh, that magic feeling, yes, that magic feeling, sweet, sweet magic feeling is gone. Leaves start to change color off to college with new friends. Learn new subject matter. Start to know who I am. Oh, that magic Our love grows together. Heartbreak is how it ends. Oh, that magic feeling. Yes, that magic feeling. Sweet, sweet magic feeling is gone. Those were special days in every way. They shaped my life and made me who I am. Oh, they were magical. Now I've got new days with my true love and friends. Happiness comes from them. Family is magical. Wake up in the morning, beautiful woman by my side. House full of children. Oh man, this is the life. Oh, that magic feeling. Yes, that magic feeling. Sweet, sweet magic feelings alive. Women in bikinis, drinking beers with my friends.
New music for y'all here on 88.3 The Saint, Siena College Radio. The name of the band is called The Perfect Storm. The name of the song is called Magic Feeling. And you are listening to Kickin' Country with Colin here on Siena Radio. Joining me in studio is a band member. His name is James Krakat. We've been talking about your debut solo album, James. We've also been talking about, who you are as a person, and we've been talking about some of your influences as well. I know we've been touching on, a lot of different eras of country music and your influences, but I want to know what motivates you to keep, working in this ever-changing field of country music, because it's so dynamic and everything like that, and I think you're very much more of a traditionalist based off your debut record here, but also you got the rock influences with the Beatles and everything like that. So, how do you stay motivated?
I love music. It's a passion. It's not. I don't look at it as a chore or even a job. It's just something I love and I want to do. I think that's the key for anybody, no matter what you do. If you want to do it, get up and do it. Don't wait. I know before we started, we were talking about, a little bit of sometimes people with confidence. And I think, that's the thing, is just get up and do it. And anybody listening out there, just get out there and do it. Don't be afraid. You never know what's going to happen. I hear a lot of talented people all over the place, and, they should just, do it and not be afraid.
James, to tell you the truth, I couldn't agree with you anymore, and I think that's so beautifully said, and I don't think I could have said it any better myself. And that's the thing about the music industry, is that, in order to have success, you have to do something, you have to try, and I feel like a lot of people just don't bother. And one thing I want to say about you is I feel like you are certainly doing it and trying to, obtain that success. So here's my question for you here. Have you ever thought about just moving right to Nashville and giving this thing a crazy start here?
Oh yeah, me and my band were just talking about that pretty recently. We were looking on Zillow and stuff and seeing what was out there, and price wise, and looking at what we could do and seeing what type of jobs there were. Until anything happens. So yeah, at the same time though, we're also trying to get the album done, see what we can have happen from here as well.
Right.
We've actually been reaching out to different companies and stuff from Nashville, and we've been trying to communicate with some of them here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, when the album's done, we probably will go down and maybe at least maybe play a little tour or something down in that area.
Right. You never know what's going to happen day to day, and especially in the music industry, it's
Right.
ever changing and everything like that.
Well, there just recently was the kid in Rotterdam who close to here who just got signed to Sony.
Oh yeah, David J. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and from what I read on there, he played out, it said a few times, and then now he's signed to a mega deal, and he just played with Blake Shelton or something down in Florida.
Yep. Yeah. He's a great guy. I've heard some of his stuff, and definitely deserves that record deal for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely a quality artist, and
Yeah.
for a young age to be committed and to work and perfect your craft. It shows a lot and says a lot about them.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what we've been saying about the music industry for the last couple of minutes, is that if you want to obtain that success, you have to put in the work. I think not only does this debut album of yours, but also the music you're doing with The Perfect Storm is going to catapult you to a huge success, and I definitely wish you the best here. But James, we're going to put a quick pin in that conversation because I've got a couple messages from Siena College Radio to get out to you, the listener. But on the other side of those messages, I've got more with James Krakat, of course. I've also got more of the best of today's, yesterday's, and tomorrow's country music from Tanya Tucker. I've also got an album cut from Caleb Lee Hutchinson coming your way. But right here, right now, before those messages, it's David J., as a matter of fact, with the song Lost My Heartbreak, here on Kickin' Country with Colin. Jay going right there on Kickin' Country with Colin. It's 88.3 The Saint, Siena College Radio, with the song On the Boat Again from his brand new record Loose Cannon that dropped yesterday on Friday, June 23rd. And also dropping yesterday was Michael Ray's brand new EP called Dive Bars and Broken Hearts. I got some more country music news to pass along to you. Willie Nelson's just announced a brand new record called Bluegrass, which is going to come out on Friday, September 15th. That also happens to be the day that he's playing Saratoga Performing Arts Center, so hopefully we'll see some new songs from that record performed that night. But if not, hey, at least Willie Nelson's still playing, right? More news for you. The new Priscilla film trailer debuted from A24 this week. I gotta tell you, it looks pretty good. The film's going to examine the relationship she had with Elvis Presley from Priscilla's point of view, so definitely excited for that one. Sofia Coppola wrote and directed that film as well. And lastly, one of the biggest headlines this week in country music is that Dan and Shay have been named a double coach for the 2024 season of The Voice. It's going to be the first time this is happening on the NBC version of the show. And also this week, Dan and Shay are sitting in the number 20 spot with their new single, You. And I got it for you right here, right now on Kickin' Country with Colin. Stick around, more with James Krakat, and also my album cut from Caleb Lee Hutchinson is coming your way. At this week's album cut here on Kickin' Country with Colin, it's 88.3 The Saint, Siena College Radio. That right there is Caleb Lee Hutchinson with the song The Letter. It's my favorite off his EP from last Halloween called Songs I'll Never Play Again. If you haven't listened to that EP before, I would highly recommend checking it out because I will tell you the truth. It is definitely a country, traditional country, I might add, bluegrassy kind of EP. And I just think Caleb has one of the best voices in modern country music. And before Caleb Lee Hutchinson, one of the most important country pop duos of the modern country movement era, it was Dan and Shay with their song You. Hey folks, James Krakat is still in studio with me and we're still chatting here. So as I mentioned earlier in the program, Willie Nelson is bringing his traveling music festival, the Outlaw Music Festival, as a matter of fact, to SPAC on September 15th. I just couldn't help but wonder if you were going to go on tour this summer or not.
Right now, we haven't, or at least with the band haven't, and I personally haven't. We've been just basically recording.
Mm-hmm.
We've played out a few times at the Rustic Barn over in Troy, so that's basically where we've been at. We just kind of been playing a few gigs here and there.
Naturally, I mean, I'm sure you and the boys are just trying to hunker down and get the record ready to rock and roll here for us. So, obviously take your time, and, recording is a vital process of the music industry, as is touring, of course. Speaking of playing shows at the Rustic Barn, I got to know the answer to the following question here. Best show that you ever played and or been to?
Best show I played was, we played when I was in another band called Shattered many years ago. We opened up for a band called Fozzy, which was Chris Jericho's band over at Northern Lights. That was the best show that I played. Best show I've been to, it was when I took my father to see the Rolling Stones in the Times Union Center at the time. Actually, I think it was still the Pepsi Arena. But,
that's a ways back.
And then last year, which also goes along with it, went and saw Paul McCartney with my wife. That was a great show as well. I just wish I was able to have seen the Beatles all together. But
I'm right there with you, James. The Beatles are one of my all-time favorite groups. And I remember back in like 4th grade, we had this art show that we did to a bunch of Beatles songs. And then there was a chorus of us who sang a bunch of the Beatles songs. I believe we did. Matter of fact, I know we did Hey Jude. And I think we also did like Get Back and, Yellow Submarine. And I also think we did being for the benefit of Mr. Kite. But in any case, yeah, the Beatles are an all-time classic band, and I do wish that I had the opportunity to see them, but hey, at least you got to see Paul McCartney. I haven't even done that yet, so I want to circle back, if I may, just because I can't quite get over the story that you just told, but I also want to understand the gravity of the situation and what it meant for you, not only as a musician, but also just a person overall. So you opened up for Fozzy back in the day. What's that like? Or what was that like, I guess I should say?
I mean, at that time we were excited. It was the biggest thing that we did, so it was pretty cool. We got to meet Chris Jericho. He was a pretty decent guy, and we just played. It was the largest crowd. I mean, it was at Northern Lights, which no longer exists.
Right.
And and then pretty much we played, and then he came on, and that was pretty much it. And back to reality, basically.
That's still cool nonetheless,
Yeah.
for sure. I don't just listen to country music. Sometimes, every now and again, I'll throw on Fozzy, and I think it's pretty cool that you opened up for him. I usually watch Chris Jericho on the wrestling, but I tell you the truth, the man makes some pretty good music. All right, James, this will probably be the last question from me here on Kickin' Country with Colin, because we're nearing the end of our hour here for the show, and I got to get you back to that video store momentarily here. But as artists and musicians, we all have dreams, we all have goals, and I need to know, what is your dream venue to play as an artist?
Grand Ole Opry.
Hell yeah, man. I respect that. Now, when you say Grand Ole Opry, the Opry House, or are we talking the Ryman?
The Ryman.
The Ryman.
The actual,
okay.
Yeah, that's where, that's where all the legends had played, and I think that would be, an ultimate honor. I have respect for, all of the artists, but especially, the original artists who, paved the way and everything.
Oh, for sure. I also have a lot of respect for the Grand Ole Opry as well. I mean, it is the show that built country music, and so much history is there within the format because of that show as well. I think there's a lot of listeners out there like myself and you who also listen to the Grand Ole Opry as well. And also, speaking of the Grand Ole Opry, tonight on the Grand Ole Opry stage, you're going to have Bill Anderson, Alex Hall, Tyler Rich, and many other artists to come. That's all happening tonight on the Grand Ole Opry stage. But right now, you're listening to your Nashville Connection on your Siena College Connection, 88.3 The Saint. I'm sitting here with James Krakat, and James, that is wrapping up for me here on my portion of the show with asking you questions. But now it's time to flip the script where I let you ask me a couple questions, and I'll put you in the hot seat right here, right now.
How did you get into this?
Into country music or the radio here?
Yeah, country music. How did you get into country music?
So my father has always been a country music fan. Like, he grew up when Hank Williams Jr. was coming out, Willie Nelson for sure, Waylon Jennings, all the outlaw movement. And he kind of passed it down to me. I remember listening to, I believe it was Toby Keith and Willie Nelson's Beer for My Horses back in 2002 in the car. I forget where we were going, but we were going somewhere. And I was like, this is a great song. And I was like 4 years old at the time or something like that. On the classic country music influence, I get that from my grandparents. My grandmother has all the classic records. You're talking like Charlie Pride, Johnny Cash. She's got some Bill Anderson records, Willie Nelson for sure. But she would just play those records like when I was over at the house. So, country has just always been in my DNA. And I like other music too. I mean, I love like Slipknot, Metallica, and all that stuff. Don't really like pop music too much, but it's really just country music was so involved in my family that it just naturally flowed its way into me. And, there's something just about a pedal steel that really just, gets me in the feels.
Who's the biggest artist that you have interviewed?
Well, so I've interviewed, besides yourself, a local IROC veteran named Angie Lupe, who is part of this organization called Creative Vets. And what that organization does, if you're not familiar, is they allow a veteran to kind of be creative. Sometimes they write songs or do different paintings or things like that. And she actually wrote a song, and the song is called Stand Up For Us. It's a song detailing the ADA. She is unfortunately wheelchair bound, and it's kind of about how nobody really stands up for the veterans when they come back home. And I thought it was a very moving and powerful song, and I said, I'd like to interview you. And it was a cut by an up-and-coming country artist, Bella Hudson. And I just think it's a very powerful song. Really just is authentic and tells a great story, but also draws inspiration to a cause. And James, I am unfortunately going to stop you right there because we are running a little low on time. But tell you what, once we get you back to the video store tonight, you can stay around and we'll chat a little bit more here. Folks, the name of the record from James Krakat is called Just Me, My Guitar, and Harmonica, Features the singles Campfire, Hair Like Rain, Fire God and Country, Every Time, and the song I have for you in just a couple seconds here called Mariahville Road, which may or may not be my favorite song on the record, depends upon who you ask. Anyways, folks, you want to stay up to date on James Krakat's music, you can follow him by going to jameskrakat.com. That's JamesKrakat.com. Once again, it is JamesKrakat.com. He's on Facebook as James Krakat Music, and his YouTube is James Krakat. And folks, do want to take a second to remind you that you can always get your requests into me by calling 518-783-2400, or you can shoot me an email over at colinwvcr@gmail.com. That's colinwvcr@gmail.com. And with the summer months coming up, you can always download that iHeartRadio mobile app straight to your phone. Search WVCR 88.3 The Saint, and you can listen in anywhere that you happen to be in the United States. Let's just say you're going to be out of the capital region like I might be in a couple of weeks. You can always listen in via the iHeartRadio mobile app. I'll definitely be listening to Sugar T's Wake Up Call and Monty's Afternoon Escape for sure. And I can't forget the Capitol Press Room every weekday at 5 p.m. right here on The Saint. So without further ado, folks, before I get you back to that video store, it's James Krakat with the song Mariahville Road. And as always, I'll be back next week with more of the best of today's, yesterday's, and tomorrow's country music. So make sure you tune in. In any case, folks, though, hope you have a great rest of your Saturday evening, and y'all come back now, you hear?
Well, here I am, and I'm on my own, just singing a song on Mariahville Road, just passing time, 'cause I'm all alone. Well, I'm all alone, but there's someone there who cares for me all the time when I'm down and out and all strung out. Well, he knows the words to all my songs. He knows my sins, yeah, he knows my thoughts. Yes, he knows it all, every little thing. Well, we go on trips every single day, and we don't come back until very late. Yeah, we don't give a damn about time at all. Well, here I am, and I'm still alone, still singing my song on Mariahville Road, just missing my girl who's sleeping at home. Well, she's the kind of girl who is always there, with a tender love and a tender care, but she's sometimes scared, obeying with me. Can't you see that he's there for me when I'm down and out and all strung out? Oh, can't you see been too late. But whatever the outcome may be, there still will be that someone there for me when I'm all alone and missing my girl. So the next time you feel like you're all alone, just singing a song on Mariahville Road, just passing time. You're not alone.